Alright, welcome back to my channel here, RJB of Starcraft Casts. And today I have a game for you between Leebokgu and the Barcode. And let's just fix those colors, let's fix the interface as well, because they don't want to spoil the match result by having the timer present there. Everything is all set up, and we have Barcode, who is actually playing whatever this color is, some kind of gray. Maybe it's pale blue, I'm not sure what it is. I don't know what this one is either. Pale green, I don't know. I'm not going to use those colors. I'm going to stick to red and white. Way easier to navigate. So we've got Leebokgu, who's now the red Terran, and he's on the middle right of the map. Right below where Mr. Barcode is located. Barcode is playing Blue Zerg. The top left of the map, top left corner, top right corner, not the left. Top right corner of the map, he starts off with sending a probe to the choke. So that means I assume both players know which races they have. It's a little bit of an odd location to place your hatchery. You can't really wall off your entrance all that easily. A couple of Marines might sneak through if he doesn't get this entire area covered in time. Because this is the weakness of building your hatchery all the way out there instead of all the way here. The upside is, though, that the hatchery is now outside of the range of tanks that could be latched here on the side. So that's an upside. Your hatchery will stay alive for a little bit longer, but it is a little bit riskier. Definitely a little bit riskier. There comes the pool. And yeah, both players just happily, peacefully, as usual, as is tradition, going through the motions of the early game, where you can't really determine what the result is going to be. Sometimes you can, when the strategy is just so far out there that you can immediately make the choice and determine. But this time, because he went for an 8-10 deep barracks, he decides to go for a very early bunker there. Because he saw the Overlord scouting him, he decided to send that SCV out to the top and make a bunker there at the choke. But the SCV gets scared away from the bunker, so the bunker is no longer being constructed. He did have to pull 6 drones off of his minerals, and he's got 9 drones in total, of which 2 are still being morphed. So there's only 3 probes, drones mining. Oh, actually that's a couple of Zerglings there, but still it means that he lost a lot of time, a lot of his valuable time, that basically cost him a lot of minerals there, because that's at least 150 minerals, 200 minerals that he lost out on, having to pull his drones off his minerals to defend that front. Whereas Leebokgu barely lost anything on that attempt to build a bunker. He lost a single Marine, he lost an SCV, and that's it. The bunker got cancelled, so there's no mineral loss there. And as I mentioned earlier, this single sunken there does mean that Leebokgu has a free path into the base of Barcode. But Barcode's keeping those Zerglings there quite nicely, so he can, I assume, whenever Leebokgu tries to walk through, he can cover the area or the side Leebokgu is going to try to walk in through with those Zerglings and force those Marines to either kill those Zerglings or die to the Sunken or to the Zerglings. So that at least does give him some movement, some freedom to do as he chooses. The lair is on the way on a single hatchery, so that's going to be a very early lair. And he's either going to have to go into Mutalisks if he wants to fight this off, because he will definitely not have enough time, because there's already a very early factory out, which means that Leebokgu can have a very early starport and science facility out as well. Something died there. I assume a Zergling, because there's only 3 Zerglings left. Second Sunken is coming down. There's another Overlord. So then right, so you got Stim upgrade on the way. Zergling speed is on the way for a Barcode. Leebokgu is now going for the frontal attack, but Stim mode has not finished up. Gonna try to take that Sunken down, but most of these Marines are gonna go down. And he finally decides to pull back. He should have waited for that Stim upgrade, because, or perhaps made a medic, put it into the mix. But I assume he wants to keep that Sunken count low so that his push is going to be coming up very soon. Once that factory finishes the machine shop, he can go in there and push way quicker than he could without taking that Sunken down. But I don't think it is worth the loss in Marine count, because now there's only 7 Marines left there at the front, and a huge pile of Zerglings is being produced right now. He's going back in. He's going to take down a second Sunken because he's got medics in the mix now, and the Stim upgrade has finished. And the Sunken has gone down. Leebokgu has not yet spotted the Zerglings there. Zergling speed is almost finished. Barcode is splitting them up. Alright, Zergling speed has finished up. He's going to catch those Marines. He's going to catch those Marines that are running for their lives, but he's running alongside them, and he cuts off the escape path and gets a good surround on some of those Marines. Most of the Marines have gone down. There's only 3 Marines left. 4 Marines left. One miraculously made it out. He didn't finish that one off. Now he's going to focus on those bandits and go for the counterattack. But firebats have already been made inside of the base of Leebokgu, so these Zerglings will be rendered ineffective very, very soon and quickly. Once those firebats get their shots off on those Zerglings, he's going to try to get a surround off on those firebats, but the firebats take down most of the Zerglings. Only a single firebat went down. He was hunting, looking for all the material damage that he can do. There's a single Marine that he spared early that he's now taking down. Now he's going after these Marines there on the middle of the map. More Zerglings have come out of the base for Barcode. Barcode is trying to get a surround on those Marines there, but the Marines are stepping away, buying more time for Leebokgu inside of his base to build up a static defense here in the terms of the bunker. And there's the firebats behind the bunker line. Alright, Zerglings try to go in. Zerglings trying to get a surround off, but he sees that there's simply too many firebats, so he decides to pull back to his base, and now he's going to build up his economy. There's a hive on the way. Spire has finished. A third hatchery is being morphed. Now he's rebuilding his choke there. He's keeping his Zerglings out there in the middle to prevent Leebokgu from moving out. Leebokgu has to keep his units all balled up here, because these Zerglings get a pretty good surround off on him if he does decide to move out. The plus side, though, Leebokgu has added a single command center. He's 11... at the moment, 9 SCVs ahead of Barcode. So Barcode is behind, but Barcode does have the ability to pump out at least a bunch of drones, but most of the drones will have to go to this choke here as a static defense buffer meant to slow Leebokgu down. Leebokgu does decide to go for the frontal push, but Leebokgu has other plans. He's making a Wraith. There's a science facility. So after this Wraith finishes, I assume he's going to add on a control tower, get Radiate, and make some vessels. Because I assume he is expecting something. He hasn't used the scan yet. Scan has just finished. He's going to have to use the scan to see what Barcode is up to. He's going to use the Wraith for the scout first. So that he was probably expecting lurkers. So that's why he's holding onto the scan and using the Wraith to scout instead. But he sees there's no Hydralisk Den. No Hydralisk Den means that he is safe to go ahead with his plan as intended. And he could even be going for the push here. The Scourgers are coming out. Scourgers are going to take down either the vessel that's going to be coming out, or it's going to take out the Wraith. Right, the Scourgers go after the Wraith, so it's the Wraith. He's not saving them for the vessel. Spire is on the way as well. And honestly, Leebokgu does not have much to answer Guardians if Guardians are going to be coming out. He just has to be making his Guardians Mutalisks now, which he can afford because his minerals are so low. He's got 9 drones on the gas there and only 20 drones mining minerals. Now Leebokgu is going for the frontal attack. He's going to take down most of these Suncons there, but he's going to lose a chunk of his mass. But once he gets those tanks in there as well, most of these Suncons will go down very, very, very quickly. He takes down the Suncons. He lost about half of his Marine and Firebat count, but he can afford to lose that much. And now there are a bunch of Zerglings out. Zerglings are trying to get some good footing off. They're pulling back to the main hive. And he's in range of the drones. He gets a shot off on the drones, but a single shot does not kill the drones, right? He doesn't get a second shot. Oh, now the Firebats finish off the drones. All the drones have gone down for Barcode. He went from 32 drones down to 10, 9, 8 drones left. There's still that Firebat there in the back. 7 drones, 5 drones. I don't think Barcode is going to make a comeback on this one, because that just effectively cost him his entire economy, and he only has a couple of Guardians. 2 Guardians are finished. Another 3 are on the way. And here it looks like Leebokgu already has at least 1 vessel out for Irradiate, and he's got a Valkyrie on the way. And in the current situation, Barcode does not have the economic means to make a counter to the Valkyrie. I mean, he has the minerals for the Scourge. And 2 Scourges can take down the Valkyrie, but those Scourges will not be out in time, and a single Guardian actually already went down to the turret there. So the game is looking very, very dire for Barcode. A couple of Marines trying to go in through the front. Nothing is in the bunker, but there's a couple of tanks behind the bunker. The bunker scare away the Zerglings. Now the Guardians are trying to deal some damage here at the front. A couple of more Mutalisks are on the way. So we used those minerals he still had left for some Mutalisks instead of more drones. He's only on 10 drones now. He is able to turn them into Guardians though. There's a single Scourge still left there. A Radiate comes down on the Guardian. He just got to split them up real quickly because he's spreading out damage. Alright, he splits up the Guardian. Guardian is running away. But 2 Valkyries now coming in under the support of a couple of Marines. And the Marines hammering away at the Guardian. The Guardian goes back over the hill. Guardian is now safe. But these Morven Guardians are still taking hits from that Guardian. Gonna send out a couple of Scorches, takes down the Valkyrie, but there's still another Valkyrie left. Marines now also have free fire on those Guardians. The Guardians now going back in under support of those Scorches. The Scorches looking for a window into Leebokgu's defenses there. Gonna try to take down the Vessel. Gonna try to take down the Wraiths and the Valkyrie. 2 more Wraiths have come out of the mix. Alright, you got 3 starports here, with which he can make his anti-air defense. Barcode is now back on 17 drones, but Leebokgu is on 64 SCVs in total. Honestly, I would call the GG. I would have called the GG right at the moment where I lost my drones, because this is just an impossible situation to come back from. Leebokgu just very slowly adding on to his air mass till of 5 Wraiths out there. Single Valkyrie as well. More Valkyries. No, not more Valkyries from the waist. Now we're going to add on more control towers for vessels, I presume. And he's going in. He's going to take down the Guardians with very, very quickly. Now the Scorches are coming in. Scorches do get some hits off on those Valkyries, but Valkyries running away, getting microed quite nicely to avoid getting hit by some. Like if you change direction with your Valkyries, it also slows down the Scorches just a little bit. And because the speed is almost equal, the Scorches get stuck in animation for a little bit, trying to turn. And it buys your air units a little bit of time to get away and create some distance on those Scorches before they get hit. We're spreading those Scorches out around his base quite nicely. It's 27 drones, but now the frontal push has restarted. Siege tanks having an easy time getting extended vision from those air units as well. Right now, a huge pile of Scorches is coming in, but all of the Wraiths get cloaked, and there's no Overlord there, no detection, so he loses all of his Guardians. Scorches get pulled back. No speed on those Overlords. Overlords flying in very, very slowly over that frontal choke there. But these tanks having no issues taking down that entire frontal part there. Barcode now has no units left inside of his base. No units at all. Just those Scorches. The Scorches go in for the Valkyrie. Valkyrie survives because his splash damage takes down a couple of the Scorches. And honestly, this is the GG. I am waiting for Barcode to call it. He should have called it about 5 minutes ago. And he doesn't even call it GG, he just leaves the game, and the game ends in favor of Leebokgu. Leebokgu takes home the win against Mr. Barcode. And Mr. Barcode, apparently a little bit salty, losing the game in such a fashion. It's kind of unlucky that he was right next to Leebokgu, forced him to basically sacrifice his entire economy to survive. But Leebokgu pulled off his game plan pretty well. 6,000 minerals overmine. That's a lot of overmine. His entire build was more or less dependent on having gas, and did all the right moves that he had to do to secure the W. Not the prettiest, but definitely a very effective game. I'm going to pause it here and go, because this is a series of games between Leebokgu and Barcode. And now we're going into game number 2. Leebokgu is playing the red Protoss on the bottom side, the bottom middle of the map. Whereas we have Barcode on the opposite side of the map, the middle top spot as the blue Terran. And let's get those colors fixed. Alright, he's playing the gray color. That's a little bit more tolerable. Leebokgu's playing yellow. Alright, I can play with these colors. I can cast with these colors. These colors are not that bad at all. Alright, he's throwing out a little BM. And I know it's BM because he threw out the keke, or the Korean haha sound. Just making sure that his opponent knows that he's laughing at him. He's having a ball, beating him. And it was somewhat a convincing win. Somewhat not a convincing win, because mostly, in my opinion, came down to a little bit of luck that worked out in favor of Leebokgu. And in that sense, it is positional luck. Barcode held it pretty well, but then just got rolled over for having a hurting economy from having to pull over those drones at the start there. Let's see how this game is going to turn out. Leebokgu is playing Protoss, and he has pretty damn solid Protoss that I am kind of jealous of, because he's got strong micro and really good shuttle drop play, great micro macro, just all around a great player. He does tend to get stuck a little bit in not spending his minerals as effectively as he could, or trying to do builds that are uniquely his own, instead of going for the most optimal builds at times, but he makes up for that with micro, macro, control, and some great multitasking all around. Alright, Barcode starts off with the barracks. No 2 barrack build for Barcode. So that means Barcode's got the stuff on the way. He knows he... Some players like to go for 2 barracks because they completely know that they have absolute confidence. Complete confidence in their ability to micro from just 2 barracks into 2 gateways or 3 gateways if it's a mid build. They just have absolute confidence in their ability to come out on top in a micro battle. And Barcode looks like he likes to prefer to go for the 3 barrack build, because the 3 barrack build does give you more offensive options in the early game, whereas the 2 barrack build more or less means that you have to defend. Right, he's gonna catch the probe there. He saw the probe go in there, now he catches the probe. Probe did not get the scout Barcode's base. But now Zealots are gonna come in, while his Marines are out of the base. He decides to pull back. Not sure why he decides to pull back, but it works out. Oh, he probably thinks that Barcode is not on the top spot. Right, so Barcode ends up finding Leebokgu before Leebokgu finds Barcode. Barcode now forcing Leebokgu to pull back those Zealots all across the map, because those Marines are trying to deal some damage. But those Marines will get taken care of by those 2 Zealots. There's actually no point in pulling these Zealots back. He could just put them here in the front and prevent more Marines from leaving. Right, a single probe there went down. Microing this one away to split up those 2 Zealots, keeping those Marines alive. He's going to pull back. I think he's going to retreat, or maybe he's going to go back in. And he walks a circle, goes back in. Now he's going to try to snipe another probe. Right, he fails to snipe another probe. A second probe goes down. Marine goes down as well. Now he's going to micro for another circle. Try to get some damage up on another probe. Kill probe number 3, but he gets caught. No, he doesn't get caught. Slow reaction from Leebokgu there, but Leebokgu was focused elsewhere. Alright, he's gonna go in there. He's gonna... Oh, he mistakes on the Nexus. And just get a 3rd probe kill. So that's 4 Marines for 3 probe kills. I think that's overall a good trade, because you also got a lot of information, scouting and walking around, keeping Leebokgu busy, preventing Leebokgu from going for the offensive. Leebokgu did go for the offensive, but ended up losing a Zealot. Is it the scouting Zealot? Or that's a scouting Zealot. So he didn't lose a single Zealot there. He was just sending those Zealots out all across the map to scout the map. So now he does know where Barcode is. Barcode now going for the offensive. But there's 7 Zealots out there on the middle of the map. Zealots are retreating back to the cannons. Zealots could split up here and probably get a surround off, but he's not going for that. He's just going for the safe play. Builds the gateway there to build a smaller choke point for the Barcode Marines to go through. Barcode's now just going to keep his Marines there in the front and prevent Leebokgu from moving out with his probes or his Marines, Zealots, just to intercept anything that goes out. Alright, so Citadel of Doom is finished. 2 robotic facilities are on the way. So this means that we all know what build Leebokgu is doing and what his plan is. There's a Templar's Archive. There's no robotic support bay. No robotic support bay means that he's going for Templar drops or Dark Templar drops or just Dark Templars on the ground. And Barcode does not have an answer yet, although he is preparing an answer to those Dark Templars or Templars that might be coming out, because there is a turret bay, an engineering bay. There's a factory, medics are coming out. He's built the first part of his choke. 2 depots there. His Marines can walk through there and go pull back and build something to plug up the hole. He's taking down that gateway there in the front. He's massing up Marines. Medics are on the way as well. He's going to try to go for the front attack, but his Marines get cut out there in the front, because Leebokgu decides to go for the offensive, and the medics are not there yet. There's no stim upgrade yet, so he cannot micro his Marines, but the Zealots do end up... I mean, he can micro his Marines, but not as well as you could with stim, or deal as much damage as you could with stim. Most of the Zealots have gone down. He's going to resume taking down that gateway there in the front. Now he's going to stim down the gateway. He's going to stim on those cannons there, but the Zealots are going to come moving out, attacking those Marines. Marines are going to go down. Marines not going to win this fight here. Pretty much all of the Marines have gone down to the cannons and the Zealots, and Barcode winds up pretty much wasting the Marine mass that he had there, in exchange for just a single cannon and 2 Zealots that went down. So this is a huge win for Barcode, because now there's less units inside of the base for Barcode. A huge win for Leebokgu. And a huge loss for Barcode, because now Barcode has pretty much no units at all left inside of his own base to defend against the incoming Reaver Templar drops that Leebokgu is going to throw his way. So speed upgrade is on the way. There's a single Reaver in production, 2 Reavers in production, 2 Dark Templars are going to be coming out, just making secure that The map is now under control of Leebokgu. He's gonna take control of the entire middle because there's no detection out. There's a two scans out, but those two scans are not gonna be very useful for Barcode here. There is a turret being constructed in the front there. Alright, he sees the shuttle, but there's also Dark Templars there, so he doesn't get access to the shuttle. Jesus Christ, that's very bad for Barcode, losing most of his Marines to the Reaver Scarab shot there. Definitely not what he wanted, because now he's gonna feel the pressure and he's gonna be unable to fight this off because he just lost an entire batch of Marines to the frontal push. Reaver's gonna continue hammering away. He hammers at the turret. Storm upgrade is almost finished for Leebokgu. Also got shuttle speed upgrade almost finished. Barcode wants to go on the offensive, but he sees that his shuttle is positioned behind those Marines and behind the Dark Templar, so he cannot go in. Two tanks there, ready to sieging up, right? The scan comes out, a little bit of damage on that tank there. Another shuttle flies out. Shuttle speed will be up very, very soon. Two more shuttles finish here. So you can go for a triple drop attempt, I assume, or he's going to go for the double drop attempt first, followed up by another drop. He's going to kill ground forces, basically. 3 Reavers, going to drop them inside the base of Barcode. That will clean up a lot of the Marines that Barcode has, which will open the way for that storm drop from the Templars. Alright, he micros the Reaver really well, picks the Reaver, micros it back. All of the Marines are going down there. He hasn't lost a single Reaver just yet. He picks them up really nicely. Right, he's still microing his Reavers really nicely. Most Marines have gone down already. He just kill... How many did he kill? Did he kill both or did he kill one? Right, he killed 2 Reavers there in exchange for about 24 Marine lives. And there's still a single Reaver alive on exactly 1 hit or 2 hits. Both shuttles took minimal damage. But there's the follow-up drop that's gonna come flying in. Because he cleaned up all those Marines, this drop is definitely going to go all the way to the home run and get a shot off on those SCVs. And this is when we'll see how good Barcode is at dodging drops. Because dodging a drop is definitely going to be a requirement here. Well, you build bunkers there. Bunkers are very smart. Means you don't lose your Marines in the first shot off the Scarab. Right, he goes in. SCVs don't get pulled off. He gets a storm off. And that's a huge hit. But not as huge as I thought it would be. Alright, so you just get about 5 SCV kills there with the storms. That's way less than I anticipated. Because the hits were pretty much on the mark. But he hit this part and then he hit this part. So yeah, as you can see, most of these SCVs are low HP. You're just going to have to put a medic there, heal them all back up for the next drop so they don't die to the next storm instantly. Whether he's going to do that or not, I don't know. Alright, he's already making medics. That means he's going to heal them up. Alright, now engineering base being hovered over the hills. Getting himself that little bit of extra vision for those turrets, so those turrets can shoot over the hills instead of having to fire once the enemy shuttles fly over the hill into the base. He's killing something here. Oh, that's a tank drop. Boom! That's 20 probes down. I barely missed a tank drop. I'm glad I've got sound on. Alright, so that's a good counter hit there. There's more damage to Leebokgu than Leebokgu has been able to do to Barcode's minerals. And this will buy Barcode a little bit of time, because now Leebokgu has been slowed down. On the plus side, Leebokgu has most of his base already built up. So he does have units out, and he can make more units, but he's going to have to wait a little bit to get some production back. But he's not making new probes. He's not making new probes. I think he assumes that he lost way less probes than he did. He's on 54 probes, and 54 probes this early into the game is not that much. It's not that good for your economy. Barcode definitely pulling up ahead of Leebokgu. Leebokgu now going for the frontal attack. Flies to drop in, flies to drop, drops to drop behind the bunkers. Right on top of the tanks, and he cleans out the tanks there in the front, cleans out the tanks there in the back. Now the Marines are also exposed to them, and he pretty much storms all the Marines to death. And this is a very, very good situation for Leebokgu. Leebokgu completely salvaging the horrible situation that he was put in by losing all of his probes with a beautiful drop right on top of the bunkers and the choke there, killing every single Marine. And most of the tanks Barcode had there in the front. Marines now penetrating in. Marines getting great shots off on those sea tanks. Sea tanks now exposed to the Zealots. The Reavers have gone down though. So this means that Barcode does have a chance to survive this here, but not without taking at least a couple of more damage, because more units are streaming in. Templars are streaming in. Templars are great against those Marines there. SCV's also being pulled to the front to repair the buildings. More siege tanks are finishing up. Siege tanks in the back there doing a lot of work against those dragoons, but the turrets there on the side are going down. Tanks in the front have gone down. Marines in the front have gone down. More units gonna come streaming in. Leebokgu's still not... Alright, Leebokgu started producing new probes now, so his economy will be recovering from that tank drop hit very, very quickly. Barcode already suffering from overmine because he's got to focus on defending so hard. This is a really tough defense here because Leebokgu is just pulling off amazing storms after amazing storms on those Marines. Very mechanical fight. Right, the drop now comes flying in. Drop is uncontested. Wait, are these empty? Why, the shuttles are empty. They're just there as a distraction to force Barcode to pull off his SCVs, but Barcode didn't fall for it, didn't pull off his SCVs. His SCVs are completely safe. But these Zealots are hammering away at the tanks, and I think this is a real drop. Yes, that's a real drop. Templar comes out, another Templar comes out as well. Templars are walking up to the mineral line. The mineral line does not get pulled away. Barcode leaves the game because Barcode realizes he's lost to the frontal attack. It was a beautiful frontal attack to break the front open and kill so many Marines. And that entire frontal attack was basically facilitated by Leebokgu managing to kill so many Marines once he... so many Marines with a drop here in the top corner when he killed all of those Marines with those 3 Reavers and keeping 1 Reaver alive, then sending it back in and killing even more Marines. That completely sealed the deal there because that set up the opportunity to go for the frontal attack here because Barcode pretty much had to locate a lot of his Marines here and tanks there in the back. It means less units in the front. The fact that he killed so many units here also means that there's just physically less units inside of the base of Barcode, which opens up the front once again. So just a great choice to go for the frontal attack, drop on the front and break in and keep sending in waves of units after losing a bunch of probes. So basically making the best of the situation, knowing exactly what he has to do instead of panicking and going on the defensive. Just immediately goes on the offensive and takes full advantage of the situation he put himself in with the prior moves he made. Right, so this is game number 2, and I'm going to go into game number 3. That's 3 games in a single video. I've done it before once and it went wrong because I accidentally... Well, I didn't accidentally make mistakes, but the recording software just wasn't working and my voice wasn't recorded for the entirety of like an hour and a half of casting. So I'm going to pause it here and get going into game number 3. Sit tight. Alright, it is a game number 3, and it is a Protoss versus Zerg with Barcode on the Black Zerg here on the top middle of the map. That means we've got Leebokgu here playing the Protoss, the purple or magenta Protoss here on the middle right of the map. So both players are on a mid spot, which luckily on this map doesn't mean that much of a disadvantage compared to the western map, where being a mid spot is inherently just a huge disadvantage. No matter what race you're playing, you're just at a huge disadvantage. Zerg at the biggest one, because Zerg is just generally weak to drops. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. Both players know each other's races, because in Korea they pick their races beforehand. Or if they do random versus random, they call it their races. Right, he starts off with the probe in the middle. The proxy mid build. Famous strategy that's just so very hard to play into. Because it's just so damn good having so little distance to your opponent. Specifically when the opponent is doing a hatchery here in the middle. Or is playing Terran. It's very hard to play into. Right, the hatchery comes down. He's gonna do the... I assume he's gonna do the 2 hatchery choke build. Where you build a hatchery there and a hatchery there. And then you block off this little entrance here in the middle with larva eggs. Alright, so he finds him on the second scout. That's very advantageous for both players because now Barcode knows that he has to save up some larva to build Zerglings to fight off the Zealots that are going to be coming out. But also means Leebokgu knows where Barcode is, so no need to scout or send out a second probe. Although, well, excuse me Leebokgu, you're sending out another 3 probes. Those 3 probes are pulled out to prevent drones from getting down here on the ground around the hatchery once the hatchery finishes, so he cannot make creep colonies there. Like now he's chasing around those drones, gonna prevent them from getting a good solid footing down here. This pylon is also there to prevent... Those pylons are basically also there to reduce the amount of area that Barcode has to put down sunken colonies, or creep colonies. Right, so he's already hurting him really badly. So badly that Barcode decided against throwing down a second hatchery, which is something you usually do after your pool. You throw in a second hatchery, but Barcode here forced to stick to just pulling off drones. He's got 2 drones left on his minerals. On the upside though, he can produce a bunch of Zerglings here. He got the single creep colony down. He gets the probes. All the probes have gone down there. So in return for hurting Barcode's economy, Leebokgu also ended up hurting his own economy. And that second colony is gonna be finishing. More Zerglings are on the way. Zerglings are quite cheap. Zerglings do quite great against Zealots, but Zealots, if I heard correctly, do come out on top. You gotta surround those Zealots with those Zerglings, and you will definitely win each exchange there. Right, Zealots being marked pretty well there. Most of the Zerglings have gone down. Now Leebokgu can get free access to those drones. Barcode forced to pull those drones off. More Zerglings can keep walking through this front here because there's no wall, and these Sunkens not that great at killing Zealots before they walk through this range here. Right, he does end up... Well, there's only 4 drones left, so he did end up losing a lot of drones there. But Barco still fighting on bravely, trying to force those Zealots to get the fuck out of there. He does catch one. Does catch the second one. The third one is gonna be dead as well. So Barcode, after a lot of heavy turmoil, very, very heavy fighting there, does manage to pull through. And he recognizes that because Leebokgu sacrificed 5 probes on a mid-build forced rush that didn't work out, because either you kill the opponent and then you come out with a smaller economy. So now Barcode is going to try to go on the offensive, but he doesn't know where Leebokgu is located. I think he assumed that Leebokgu is located on the middle right there, but he's going to split up his Zerglings. One Zergling is going to go for the main base. Another Zerglings are going to try to take from the pylon to force Leebokgu to split up his Zealots. Right, he does get access to those probe line. The probes forced to pull off the minerals. He's going to focus on the cannons there in the back. Cannon's going to be forced to cancel. He's going to go for a second cannon. Now the probes are going to try to stop the Zerglings from getting in there, but... Alright, the Zerglings do get cut out a little bit. 2 Zerglings, 3 Zerglings have gone... No. 2 Zerglings went down there. You got the pylon in the middle in the meantime. So it looks like Barcode is just completely giving up on going for economy. I mean, he's going for mass Zerglings to try and punish Leebokgu for his over-aggression in the early game there. Now he's going for an economy, because now he's on 6 drones, up from just 4 drones. So at least he's recovering a little bit. And he's going to just try to keep hammering away at Leebokgu here. Going to try to keep dealing damage with those Zerglings. There's a lot of gateways being built around here to block access to those cannons there in the back, make it easier for Leebokgu to micro around, and make the tiny spaces that Barcode has to go through a lot smaller. I'm going to try to take down this forge, but the Zealots are just too strong for those Zerglings to deal with. And he's forced to pull back to the middle. He's just going to take down those gateways and make Leebokgu lose 450 minerals. Now he's going to have to rebuild those gateways inside of his base. He can only use those gateways in the middle, so at least he's doing some monetary damage to Leebokgu. Leebokgu has been slowed down significantly, but that's a great counterpunch from Barcode, being able to at least deal some return damage after losing almost all of his drones there, being forced to pull off and having a really hurting economy there. Right, another fight happening there on the middle. He's going to try to deal and get us around off on those Zealots. Maybe pick up a Zealot, but the Zealots get marked pretty well. Zergling's forced to pull back. And Leebokgu is going for the mass gateway build. Adding on 3 more gateways that he lost there in the middle. Barcode, now on 16 drones, has managed to recover quite nicely, but is still a little bit behind on Leebokgu. Leebokgu on 22 probes in total, 23 now. But once these 2 hatcheries finish up for Barcode, he's gonna get a huge jump in economy and income. And because Leebokgu is only on a single gateway, he's gonna be behind on Barcode a little bit as the game progresses. But the upside, Leebokgu does have a robotics facility on the way, so he can start shuttling units into Barcode's base very soon. Barcode adding on a total of 4 hatcheries, of which 2 are almost finished. The third one is a quarter through. Starts the gas, quite late gas, but it's completely understandable why it is so late, because of all the action that we've been seeing so far. Leebokgu now starting his mid build once again. The containment mid build. He's gonna build Reavers there on the middle. It's mostly there to keep him out. Right, there's the Stargate, so courses are on the way as well. Leebokgu tries to touch and feel if there's something he can do to the front there, but he sees the amount of Zerglings, sees the amount of Sunkens, and decides to pull back, but he decides to go back in. Although he doesn't really have access all that well. He gets a good round on that Sunken, but his Sunken is very hard to access. He does manage to get both of them down, I assume. Although it does cost him pretty much all of the Zealots that he had there. He's going to try to take down Sunken number 3. He didn't get Sunken number 2, so just one Sunken in exchange for pretty much all of the Zealots that he had there. And that's a huge win for Barcode. Because Barcode loses way less in investment there than Leebokgu. Leebokgu lost at least about 1,000 minerals there. Barcode lost about 400. So that's a huge win for him. Maybe 400 minerals lost. So that's about 600 mineral difference in loss. And given that Barcode now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries in total, he can start pumping a lot of Hydralisks and a lot of drones to kick up his economy beyond the point where Leebokgu's economy is at right now. Because Leebokgu's on 32 probes and he's on a single Nexus probe pump. So he's gonna fall behind as the game drags on. He does have a Reaver on the way there. Reaver is finished, but the Reaver gets spotted because Barcode very smartly kept a single unit out there inside of Leebokgu's base to gather information. And he now has the information that the drop is on the way, so that means he's making his own Hydralisks now. Well, he's supply stock, so no Hydralisks just yet. There's a couple of Hydralisks there, but I assume he'll be making more Hydralisks once his supply space opens up. And I'm right, 7 more Hydralisks. Hydralisk speed is on the way. He drops the Reaver there in the front. He's just gonna hammer away at the Sunkens in the front. Force Barcode to focus on killing that Reaver in the front there, which should open up a window for Leebokgu to fly his shuttle in and maybe deal some damage to the mineral line. Barcode's gonna take care of that Corsair on the side there. Leebokgu pulls it back. Reaver in the front still hammering away. Now there are 2 robotic facilities on the middle. Shuttle is flying back, gonna pick up another Reaver, so there's 2 Reavers out on the map for Leebokgu. Leebokgu very slowly adding onto his space. There's a second Nexus, finally. But at this point into the game, he's already behind on Barcode in economy. Barcode is growing pretty big. Now throwing down another whole Sunken line. With a little space in between so that the Reaver Scarabs can only hit 1 Sunken at a time, if hitting 2 at a time. Which is always better than taking more damage, basically. And Leebokgu decides to go in for the attack. That's a lot of Zealots, but there's no speed in those Zealots, so the Zealots are kind of slow in penetrating through that Sunken defense line. But he is taking a lot of these Sunkens here, but now a drop is happening while he pulled his Hydralisk away, so the plan that Leebokgu had in mind is working very, very well. He just got a beautiful shot on about 15 drones there, picks up the Reaver, sends it away. Barcode is still not on a lair though, or Leebokgu goes back in, shuttle goes down, Reaver gets a shot up on a single Hydralisk. So the drop did hurt, 15 drones gone down. Second shot is hit nothing but a single Hydralisk, so Barcode extends his life quite well. Leebokgu manages to buy himself some extra time by resetting Barcode's worker count, which should put him back into the game economically. Because now he's got a second Nexus out. And Barcode's going to have to be focusing on building drones for a while. He's already transitioning back into Hydralisks now. But still only on just a hatchery, no lair. So he's gonna try to go for a surround on those Reavers with the Hydralisks. But Leebokgu knows that Barcode is trying exactly that, so Leebokgu is not gonna be greedy. He's definitely not going to be greedy. He's gonna wait and build up a nice Reaver count under the assistance of a lot of Zealots before he's even gonna try to go in too deep. As you can see, he's already pulling back because he knows that Barcode is fishing for the right timing. The right timing is not there yet. There's a shuttle out there on the map, not a shuttle is under production. Weapon upgrades are finally on the way, right? He goes in. Zealots first. Zealots taking down the Sunkens. Now all the Hydralisks are coming out. Hydralisks get a great surround off, but most of the Zealots are still alive. So Barcode decides against looking for the confrontation with those Reavers. He fights the Zealots first, right? Zealots pull back to the Reavers. Now he gets a great surround off right here. He gets a beautiful surround off. Beautiful micro there from Barcode as well, pulling his Hydralisk back to prevent it from dying to the Zealots. Now he gets a beautiful surround off. Two Zealots, two Reavers get pulled back to safety behind the cannon line. And pulling those two Reavers back to behind the cannon line might just end up being his saving grace. No, both the Reavers go down. There's still two Reavers there in the back. But most of the cannons here in the front will go down to the Hydralisk. More Hydralisks are being pumped on the way. 17 Hydralisks being produced now. All the cannons on the middle have gone down. Two more cannons are being warped in. The Reavers there on the side doing a great job of forcing those Hydralisks to pull back. Hydralisk microing a little bit. Zealots pulling back as well, regrouping with the Reavers. Leebokgu is going to have to throw down a lot of cannons here on the middle because this is now a race against the clock because a lot of Hydralisks are coming out for Barcode. Barcode has got a lot of hatcheries there. And most of all, a lot of minerals, so he decides to pull off a couple of drones and add more hatcheries, 4 more hatcheries on the way. So they have a total of 9 hatcheries to produce from. Plus, of course, his main hatchery. 10 hatcheries in total. Overlord here on the side going to go down. That might hurt him a little bit. He's going to get supply stuck very soon. I don't entirely agree with Barcode on waiting to let Leebokgu re-establish middle control here. Because he just took middle control away from Leebokgu, but now he's giving it back to him. 6 Reavers soon out. 7 Reavers soon out. He's using this one in his main for, well, 8 Reavers are out, but this one is going to be completely useless. He's just sitting there as a defense measurement. Corsair flew over. Corsair got information. Lair's on the way. Barcode losing Overlords in the process. He's supply stuck. He's going to have to wait for Overlords to finish up. Single Overlord finishes, but he's only 6 away from being supply stuck. Whereas Leebokgu is already on 160 Psi in total. He's got a huge lead here. 34 drones for Barcode. Barcode has not been adding drones to his minerals, even though he had the chance for a little while to do it. Which means Leebokgu is now 30 drones ahead of Barcode. Barcode is in a bad situation here. I don't think Barcode is going to take the W here. I'm sorry, I'm calling it prematurely, but this is looking very bad for Barcode. Barcode is adding on a lot of hatcheries now, in addition to the ones that he already has. More Hydralisks coming out. But not gonna lie, Leebokgu is looking very scary here because he's got a whole lot of Zealots there on the middle, accompanied by Reavers. And there's another Reaver there inside that shuttle. 3 Reavers inside those shuttles. So that means we've got 10 Reavers there on the ground. Barcode is going to have some amazing micro against 10 Reavers in total if he wants to pull off the upset here. Because if he pulls this off here in this situation, it is definitely going to be an upset. So Leebokgu streaming his units in, not spreading them out all too well, but he doesn't need to. He just needs his units to be compact. He needs those Hydralisks to focus on the same. Alright, there's 4 Templars in the mix as well. Barcode going for the attack, but these Reavers are taking down so many Hydralisks at the same time. Just single scared. Alright, Storm comes down. Storm kills a bunch of Hydralisks, but he does get a surround off. But not the surround that he needed, because pretty much all of the Hydralisks have gone down here. His supply has dropped by a 50. And he doesn't have the income to just crap out a whole load of Hydralisks quick enough. And given that Leebokgu has so many gateways here on the middle, he can just throw out and replenish his lost Psi within a matter of a minute, perhaps. Alright, more Hydralisks coming out, but these 2 Archons are just being a pain in the ass for Barcode now. Barcode does kill the Reaver there, but more Reavers are on the way. There's, alright, 2 more Reavers are on the way, but he's mostly going to just go for Zealots now. There's no dropout on the map. Technically, there's a dropout on the map, but he's using it for frontal attack, so there's 2 Reavers out on the map. 2 more Reavers are about to finish up. He's going to send those Zealots in, spread them out. There's Lurkers on the way, but Lurkers are a little bit late. Had those Lurkers finished already, he could defend this easily because there's no Observer out for Leebokgu. Leebokgu going in. Zealots hammering and tearing through those Hydralisks with ease. Templars also in the mix. Storms on the Lurker eggs. Gets another storm off of the Lurker eggs. All the Lurker eggs have gone down now, so another storm is going to come down on the drones there. And he storms the drones, storms all of the drones, and Leebokgu takes home game number 3. A quick, not an easy, but a quick 3-0 win for Leebokgu against Mr. Barcode. Barcode biting the dust and comes out 0-3 against Leebokgu, aka GoldSCV. And this kind of shows why GoldSCV is such a monster to be reckoned with. Leebokgu is just absolute madness. He pulled off a really, really well played game. And I have to admit, Barcode also played a really, really well game. He played that one really well. Just ended up not going for the lurkers when he needed them. Really, really late lair. Really extremely late lurker tech. And yeah, he just got bummed over. Basically, all comes down to losing those 15 drones to the first drop from Leebokgu. If you had capped down to those 15 drones, this game could have turned out completely different. It could have been a win for Barcode. But just losing those 50 drones there, it just really hurts, slows you down a lot. It throws a wrench into your game plan. And 31 kills here on the Protoss Templar. So yeah, thanks for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope my casting was up to par, not below level. It was an enjoyable thing to watch for you. It was an enjoyable couple of games for me to cast and watch. I always say that I learned some stuff, but it's true. I learned some stuff from these games. Specifically how painful Zerg can be on fastest maps. Because you're just so weak in the early game. They're pretty much all the pressure that you're going to receive is going to end up hurting your economy because you're going to have to pull drones off. Anyway, goodbye. See you next time. And have a good day.